All right. Welcome back to the Sort of Sports Podcast. On to episode 13 now. Now, some of you might be asking, yeah, it's episode 13. Very excited to watch, but it's been a while. Yes, 4th of July came. I had a lot going on then, and I was kind of waiting for that Nets-Bucks series to be over, and I should have recorded one before the Hawks-Bucks series, but I did not get a chance to, so that's on me. Should have done that. But I'm very excited to be talking right now about the NBA Finals because tonight at 9 o'clock is Game 4 in Milwaukee, Bucks-Suns. So we're going to start right there. The NBA Finals, there's a lot I have to say about it. Let's just start about tonight. I think tonight so far is the most important game. If the Bucks go down 3-1, I think it's over. I don't think we can come back. If the Bucks go up 2-2, I think we're going to win the series. I think they can definitely, in 3 more games, win 2 of them. Honestly. Last game, they were rolling. I'll pull up the stats right here, but last game, Giannis was... Here's my thing, quick tangent. So Giannis with the Bucks, I see some slander right now about Giannis, about, how, they lost those first 2 games, da-da-da-da-da. And to me, it just really pushed my buttons because, Giannis is not the issue for the Bucks right now. Giannis is balling out. Giannis is playing at an incredible level. He's the first player I just saw to average have 40 back-to-back 40 points and more than 10 rebounds, more than 40 points, more than 10 rebounds in a finals game since Shaq. Him and Shaq are the only 2 to ever do it. So that was insane. He's doing things that I don't think anybody predicted he'd do in the finals. I'm a huge Giannis fan, and he's still blown me away. So just cut it out with the Giannis slander. He's been incredible, and really it's all about what Chris Middleton and what Drew Holiday do. Whatever they do, that will decide the series. So let's look at the stats. So, all right, for the Bucks, Giannis had 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and 41 points. Right after him is Drew Holiday, 21 points, and then Chris Middleton of 18 points. Drew Holiday also had 5 rebounds, 9 assists. Chris Middleton had 7 rebounds and 6 assists. So if Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are both rolling, they're going to win. That's my opinion. Because Giannis, you can rely on. He has been consistently incredible so far in the playoffs, and especially in this series against the Suns. He has been great. So that's not really what I'm worried about as a Bucks fan. It's Middleton and Drew Holiday that have to do it. For really quick, I just want to point out, I'm talking about with Giannis's postseason stats right now. So during the regular season, he had 56.9 field goal percentage, a 30.3 3-point percentage, a 68 free throw percentage, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. It's 5.9, we're rounding up. 1.2 blocks, 1.2 steals, and 28 points. For the postseason, he's got 29 points, 1 steal, 1 block, 5 assists instead of 6, 13 rebounds, though, 12.9, 57% free throw, 3-point percentage is down 18.8. He has not been shooting threes at all. But the field goal percentage is borderline the same at 56.2, and his minutes have gone up 4 minutes. So he's playing more time and is still just as efficient shooting, except threes and free throws. Threes and free throws have gone down. Obviously, people have been doing the taunting with the counting, and I thought it was really funny that he shot a lot better. I mean, his free throw percentage, this is what's interesting. So the free throw percentage against the Suns was 58 and 61 for the first 2 games in Phoenix. They go to Milwaukee, and it's 76.5. That's a big jump. So far in the finals, Giannis has had 41 points, Game 3, 42 points in Game 2, and only 20 in Game 1. 21 in Game 1, though, isn't a big deal because he wasn't 100% then. And I think that's the biggest thing is Giannis right now is showing he's, in my opinion, him and KD have to be your 2 best players in the NBA. I think KD is probably the best, but Giannis has got to be a close second. He has been incredible. He single-handedly tried to win the Bucks game 2, and he can't. This is a really good Suns team. So if they're going to win, like I said, keep coming back. I sound like a broken record. Drew and Chris have to win us the game. Giannis is going to be there. Giannis is going to have, incredible numbers. Giannis is going to be doing incredible things. It's all about if the other two best players can step up, because we have the best player in the series. Giannis is the best player, and then there's probably a good argument the next three are all Suns guys: Paul, Booker, and Ayton, in that order. And then it's probably Chris and then Drew, or Drew then Chris, whatever you think. I think it's probably Chris then Drew. Drew's been really cold offensively. I like what he brings defensively, though. He's been really good defensively. So this is the big game. Hopefully the Bucks win, but I think they're gonna. Honestly, I think the Bucks are gonna win this game, but if you ask me how sure I am on that, I would not bet much money. I think it's me being hopeful. If they win this game, like I said, I do think they're winning the finals, whether that goes 6 or 7 games. So I don't think the Bucks are really going to pull off a sweep like that, though, where it's the Suns win the first 2 games and the Bucks win the next 4. I think we're going to drop another game, probably game 5 or game 6, and that'll take it to game 7. Hopefully the Bucks win this. I really want them to win this, especially because Bill Simmons made a point on his podcast the other day. I thought it was a great point. He asked Ryan Russillo with him. He said, out of these 2 teams, which one do you think is more likely to be back in the finals next year? He's like, to be honest, it's actually the Suns, because I think everybody, he said, and this is a true statement, I agree with this statement, I think the Nets are easily winning the Eastern Conference next year, the way everything looks. Unless something crazy goes on, I think the Nets are probably winning the title next year, and they're going to win the East. And this Bucks team has to take the advantage of the injuries and everything that's gone on, KD wearing too big of a shoe. They have to take advantage of all that and win the finals. This is their best chance to win the finals in the foreseeable future of Giannis. So you're not going to get a huge free agent this summer. You're not going to make a huge trade. You have to win the finals now. This is your best chance for Milwaukee. For the Suns, you could potentially conceivably run it back next year. Conceivably. It's not super likely that you're going to win the title, but I think it's more likely in the Bucks, because there's a lot of things in the East. There's a lot of pins that can fall that easily make it so the Bucks don't make it to the finals again. So I really just want the Bucks to win, because I think this is Giannis' best shot at the title within the next 3 to 4 years. I mean, they're going to have to wait a little while to get back in this position. So let's hope they get that win, because I want to be able to buy an NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks shirt. Now let's talk about this narrative that's being told about, well, the NBA Finals this year is boring, and I don't like the NBA Finals this year, and, I wish it was the Nets, or I wish it was the Clippers, or da-da-da-da-da. I hate that, because to me, for years it was, there's no parity in the NBA. It's always the Warriors. It's always the Heat. We don't want that anymore. So then we finally get a finals that is super competitive, 2 teams with like one real superstar. Chris Paul is probably the superstar for them. Devin Booker, I think you can kind of start to put him in that conversation, but Giannis is like the main guy here. And then 2 small markets. Like Phoenix is a huge city, but it's not like the Suns are an incredibly popular basketball team, neither with the Bucks. And only 1 championship between the 2 of them, and that's the Bucks with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And this is incredible basketball to me, where it's just 2 really good teams that play very different styles of basketball going at it, and I love it. This might be my favorite finals. This probably is my favorite final since 2016. I really like 2019 with the Raptors Warriors, but this one is probably going to be my favorite along with 2016. And the thing with 2016 is, if the Bucks don't win, not the Bucks, if the Cavs don't win that game 7, it's not even close to being one of my favorites. That's only interesting because the Cavs won it to me. And I don't know if that makes a difference, because that's not what happened. But I'm just saying, it's like this had immediate intrigue from when it started to me. So I just think the Bucks had to take advantage of this. And like I'm saying, everybody's saying it's boring. Not everybody, sorry, I should clarify. A lot of your more casual NBA fans and some guys at ESPN are debating about, if I saw somebody said that a guy for ESPN tweeted out, is this the worst NBA Finals ever? I'm like, you want to look at worst NBA Finals ever? Look at the 2007 Cavs Spurs sweep. NBA Finals sweep. It was a sweep. And it was not entertaining. All these games have been close if you watch the games. It's my biggest thing with the NBA. Watch the games. Don't just watch the recaps on social media. Watch the games. It's the best way to know what's going on. Because a team could win by 20, but it was close the whole game, and it just got away from them in the last couple minutes. Same thing if it ends, and it was only a 5-point win. You're like, man, that was a close game. So-and-so had to, really push that team. Well, they could have just, took all their starters out, and they lost some points, and they were already up by 20, and they didn't care. So just watch the games. I'm telling you, these games are incredibly competitive and fun, and even if the Suns win, props. I'm not going to hate the Suns. They're a really fun team. DeAndre Ayton has been incredible. There's a billion videos on YouTube now about how incredible DeAndre Ayton is, and I'm not going to add to it because there's guys who have done really, really good jobs on describing what Ayton's been doing. So at the moment, I'm not going to go on to a 40-minute DeAndre Ayton thing, but I just got to say props. And also, that 2018 NBA draft is becoming one of the greatest ever, faster and faster. I mean, Trae Young, Jaren Jackson Jr. is really good. Luka, is Luka. DeAndre Ayton's great. Like, Bagley isn't a bad player. With some better development and maybe a different team, Bagley could be incredible. Like, I don't know if incredible is the right word, but he can be good. Like that, I'm not even going to go into the other guys. That's just the top 5. Like, Shake Milton's in that draft. We all know I love Shake Milton. That draft is an amazing draft. Just look up 2018 draft, scroll through the names. You'll know a lot of them because a lot of those guys, even the guys picked later, have been really good. Also, Dante DiVincenzo's draft. And I love Dante DiVincenzo. He's great, and I wish he was in the finals right now. Well, he is in the finals, but he's not playing in the finals. So, yeah, it's really frustrating because everybody's whining about it's not the most interesting finals. They want KD, they want LeBron, they want this, they want that. They want the super teams. It's proven that NBA viewership, or really sports viewership in general, goes up when there's a bad guy, when there's a dynasty, somebody to root against, or somebody to root for if you're that type of guy or you like the super teams. The Bucks and the Suns, neither of them are that. They're very loyalty-based. The only guy here that's not like been built up from the team that's like a main point is, Drew was traded for, but it's not like Drew was like a crazy, MVP candidate or anything. Chris Paul, this is old man Chris Paul that's been journeying around. So that makes that interesting. Like, there's just a lot that I think makes this interesting that the NBA isn't marketing. I think the NBA marketing department's really got to step up and market better. Giannis, like the whole story about, this is just some dude from Greece picked with the 15th pick. He was on the streets of Greece before. He was not expected to be one of the best players in the NBA and winning a championship and back-to-back MVPs and a defensive player. He wasn't expected to be this good. And Chris Paul has a chance to win a ring finally. There was talk before that he was the greatest player to never play in the NBA Finals, and now he could potentially win it. There's just a lot of interesting things going on here that the NBA I don't think is marketing enough, and people aren't really talking about this finals as much as I think they should. This finals should be incredibly well watched, and people should be really into it, but they're not because neither of them are huge market teams. It's not the Nets, it's not the Knicks, it's not the Lakers, it's not, I'm trying to think whoever, Warriors. Like, it's not a huge market team, and people aren't as excited about that, and that sucks because as an NBA fan, I am loving what I'm seeing right now, and I think this has been a really great playoffs, and this is a really nice cap on it. Even with all the injury stuff, I still think this is an incredible NBA Finals regardless, any way you cut it. And on top of that, like I said, next year it's going to be Nets, somebody else. It might be a super team formed with maybe a Bradley Beal trade or a Kyle Lowry signing or both, like playing against them. So next year you're going to get a super team finals, and it's probably going to have viewership up, and people will say, we want competitiveness, we want this, we want that. Well, we had competitiveness, and then people wanted dominance. So it upsets me. I mean, you're not ever going to be able to please everyone, but I think people should take note that this is a really great piece of basketball being shown in front of them, and people aren't taking enough note of that. So please, if you are an NBA fan, watch the NBA Finals. It's been great. Regardless of who wins, there's no bad guy here. The Suns are like one of the most liked teams in the NBA right now. Everybody loves the way they play. And the Bucks have Giannis, and there's not too many people I know that hate Giannis. He's a really nice guy. I obviously really like him. This Bucks team's fun to watch. They play a lot of hard defense sometimes, and the Suns just play some great basketball, great ball movement. And it's just I love just watching Giannis do his stuff. He has hit another level that I didn't even know was capable of him. He has just decided like I said, he's decided they're winning this, and that's what they needed. Giannis wants to win this. And as long as Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday are in it, I think they're going to win it. So tonight's the big game for me. This is the main one. And they got to win it. They have to win it tonight. They have to win and make it 2-2. Because that makes it 0-0 essentially. Next team to win 2 games wins, and there's only 3 games left. So that makes it incredibly interesting to me, and I really hope the Bucks can pull it off tonight. I'm expecting at least 35 from Giannis. If he gets 40 again, just woo, he's rolling. So yeah, please do not, even if the Bucks lose, it's definitely not on Giannis. I think everybody who watches it, or even if you're a person who just looks at the stats, you've got to recognize he's been amazing. And I really hope he wins, because then that's a big screw you to all the people that said he shouldn't have re-signed. So, yeah, either way, it'll be a really great finals. It has been a great finals so far, but obviously I prefer it to be the Bucks. But if it's not, I understand. Suns play great basketball. All right, let's move on now to another thing about the NBA, and that's the Colin Sexton stuff. Now, I am on record as being weird of Sexton because part of me really thinks he's really good, and he's a really nice scorer, and he's gotten better at playmaking, and him and Garland kind of work together, and I like what he brings, and I think he could be a leader for this team. Another part of me is like, do I see Colin Sexton leading the Cleveland Cavaliers to an NBA championship? And a part of me thinks no. And that's not the best. It's really not the best. So I have trouble with that because Sexton is apparently going to be traded, is all the rumors, and it's probably going to be the Knicks. Hopefully we get Obi Toppin in that deal. And I have a bigger conversation I'm about to bring up about the NBA draft. I'm going to wait a little bit on that. I'm going to finish up this point because the Sexton thing's weird to me. A part of me wants the Cavs to keep Sexton and draft Evan Mobley because I think the Rockets, quick preview to the draft, Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham, I think, are going to be the top 2 picks. And if the Rockets really like Mobley, they're going to trade it to the Cavs. But my thing is, okay, I'll tell that in a bit. I don't want to get off the track. Point is, let's talk about Colin Sexton. Sexton is an incredible scorer and has a really nice bag. Like, he has great moves. He's kind of reminds me of early on Kyrie Irving. I know that's really high praise, but it's kind of what he reminds me of. Really, to be honest, I know everybody wants to compare Trae Young to Steph Curry, but I think Trae Young's actually more like Kyrie Irving, to be honest. That's really my read on Trae Young, is that he's a lot like Kyrie Irving, more than Sexton, to be honest. Or like Steve Nash. Those are like the main 2 for me. Trae Young is not Steph Curry. So, regardless, I think I have a bigger thing planned for Trae Young that I will be doing eventually. Not on this podcast. It'll be on the channel, but not on the podcast. So, that'll be a different thing. Point is, Kyrie Irving is Sexton. That's a decent comparison that I just did. I don't know if it's completely accurate, but I'm saying Sexton is a good player. I legitimately believe he's going to be an all-star talent, but I understand if the Cavs don't want him, I kind of feel a little shaky about that because we better be drafting Jalen Green then, because Sexton is a good player, and if you trade him, you better be getting in probably from the Knicks is the rumor, which I think is a genius move for the Knicks. You get Obi Toppin in a first-rounder. Maybe you snag Frank Ntilikina in that just as like a decent backup. That's a decent deal. But I guess I'll just have to see with the Sexton thing. It's really weird for me. I want to get something back that's of value to the Cavs, but I don't think it's really the best move. I understand why they're doing it, though, and that's because they don't want to pay him $100 million plus. Jarrett Allen, they're going to have to give a huge extension, which he fully deserves. I love Jarrett Allen. They're going to move Kevin Love or buy him out. I'm guessing it's a buyout situation. And then Darius Garland they're running with. Isaac Okoro they're sticking with. And so it's either, do you pay Sexton the extension that's over $100 million, or do you get rid of Sexton? I think they're moving towards getting rid of Sexton, getting maybe Obi Toppin, and then like a first-round pick, and then you can draft whoever you want. So if we draft, please get Jalen Green or Cade Cunningham. And I know you're like, oh, Cade Cunningham's my number 1 pick. That brings us to our next point, and that is hey guys, I don't think. Are we sure Cade Cunningham's the number one pick? Are we sure? I'm just saying. That point was brought up to me. And to be honest, I think it's a really good point. Everybody has just decided. It was on the Bill Simmons podcast. He just said, he's like, you realize everybody's just decided that Cade Cunningham's the number one pick. Is he? And I was like, oh, yeah, he's the number one pick. And then I thought about it. If you heard that noise earlier, I'm on ESPN looking at stats, and an advertisement came up on the side. That's what that was. And he's like, is everybody sure that Cade Cunningham's the best player in this draft? I don't know. I legitimately thought about it for a moment. I was like, crap, he's right. Why do I think that? And it's like, because ever since high school, since 2018, you've all just decided, well, Cade Cunningham's the best player in that draft. As soon as he went to OSU, we're like, yeah, potential number one pick, probably be the number one pick. He's really good. Well, are we sure? Because, I mean, here's the thing. I was talking to a friend about it. When Zion was in college, I would watch so many Duke games. I don't even like Duke that much because of him, because it was like watching a grown man, like an NBA player. It was like if you put Giannis in to play 15-year-olds. That's what it felt like. Zion in college, especially against some of the worst teams in the ACC that year. It was insane the things Zion would do to them. It's kind of like, whoa, you were playing Division I college basketball and Zion just annihilated you because he was that far athletically ahead of them. And you just knew this guy was going to be the number one pick, and he was insane. He was the number one pick, and he's really good. Ja Morant is also really good, and he was the number two pick. But I'll talk about that in a moment when I'm about to make a point. So, I am getting extreme 2017 draft vibes because I haven't seen that moment from Cade Cunningham. I watched OSU's games in the tournament. I watched, I think, one game during the regular season, which I probably should watch more. But point is, I never had a moment where I was like, wow, this guy, surefire number one pick. He's doing something I've never seen somebody do in college. No, he was just a really good player. I think he's a really good player. I think if he gets drafted number one, he's going to be a really good guy for the Pistons. I think he has potential to be an all-star. But I'm getting real 2017 vibes where it's like everybody just decided Markelle Fultz was the best player in that draft and that Markelle Fultz is the number one pick. He gets picked number one, and I guess the Celtics realized that he wasn't the number one pick. They wanted Tatum anyway. At least that's what they say, and I think, I think they do believe that. I think they knew that Fultz wasn't the number one pick. And, Fultz goes number one, and he's not the best player in that draft. He's not even an all-star. He's not anything. He's not what you'd want out of a number one pick. So it's not like 2013 draft where no one knew what the number one pick was going to be. It could be like, Nerlens Noel. It could be Victor Oladipo. It could be Anthony Bennett. It was Anthony Bennett. Bad decision. 2017, everybody had decided it was Markelle Fultz. That was what everybody said. Everybody knew it was happening. It's like, Markelle Fultz should be number one pick. Oh, he's number one pick. Boom, like we expected. Got it. Good. That's how it feels about Cade Cunningham. He's going to get drafted number one. Everybody's going to be like, oh, okay, good. That's what we all thought. That's what we thought about Zion, too. He's number one pick. We're good. And I'm not sure he is. Because Jalen Green was in the G League playing pro players, semi-pro players, if you want to call it like that, semi-pro. And he was really good, right? As soon as this video is over, please go look up Jalen Green tape because it's really good. He's a really good scorer. And if you turn up him to his max potential and you turn up Cade, I might want Green. He's a really good scorer. Really good. So I'm saying if I'm the Cavs and I'm trading Sexton, I'm guessing it's because I want Green. But if I'm the Pistons, am I sure I want Cade Cunningham? If the Rockets really like Cade Cunningham, which is what I've heard, not by I've heard, it's like what I've read from reporting. If the Rockets really like Cade, you say, hey, we'll give you the number one pick. Give us this asset. Maybe it's Jae'Sean Tate. Maybe, I don't think you'd be able to get KPJ from them. I don't think they'd give Kevin Porter Jr. I feel like it's a lot when you're the two pick. You know what I mean? You're only one spot lower. You can't give up too much. But I'm saying you could get a nice asset and you swap 1-2 picks. They take Cade Cunningham. Now he's the number one pick. You take Jalen Green. Boom. That's what you can do in the Pistons. Because to be honest, I was talking to a friend about it, and I said, all right, backcourt, what do you want? Do you want Killian Hayes, really good playmaker with scoring capabilities, and Cade Cunningham, really good playmaker and scorer? Or do you want, Jalen Green, who just excels at scoring, with Killian Hayes, who is a really good playmaker? I would rather have the Jalen Green Killian Hayes combo because he's going to set up Green perfectly. Sadiq Bey is an amazing 3-and-D player. I think he's got a lot of potential. Isaiah Stewart's a really good big man for them. He's their franchise center. And Jeremy Grant's been a really good scorer for them. He can hit a lot of jumpers. So if Jalen Green's your main scorer, the court's pretty open for him. Isaiah Stewart hit some mid-range jumpers this year for the Pistons. He's really nice. He can, back up out of the paint, make way for Jalen Green. He can drive in. Jalen Green can shoot some shots. And Killian Hayes is not too concerned about, putting up more than like 10 points a game. I really like Killian Hayes. But I think this is a really nice spot for him if you give him Jalen Green, because Jalen Green's a really good scorer. I think Jalen Green's a better scorer than Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham might be the better overall player, but Jalen Green's a better scorer. Does that mean Cade Cunningham will be the better overall player in 5 years? I don't think so. If you look back at the last 10 drafts, number one pick is hardly ever the best player. 2011, Kyrie's the number one pick. Kawhi Leonard is the best player in that draft. No questions asked. 2-time finals MVP. 2012, number one pick's Anthony Davis. I think Damian Lillard's a better player than him. Anthony Davis was incredibly talented, but I think Damian Lillard is the better player. 2013, it's obviously Giannis' best player in that draft, and Anthony Bennett is obviously not the best player in the draft. He was the number one pick. 2014, Andrew Wiggins is the number one pick. The third pick is Embiid, and the 41st pick is Jokic. I would say Jokic is the best player, especially with Embiid's health issues, but still, that's two guys who aren't the number one pick that are better than the number one pick. There's a lot of other guys in that draft I think are better than Andrew Wiggins, too. I'd say Jeremy Grant, who's in that draft, is actually better than Andrew Wiggins. 2015 draft, Karl Anthony Towns is the number one pick. Devin Booker's best player in that draft. 2016 draft, Ben Simmons number one pick. You can make an argument there, but I think Brandon Ingram is maybe better, to be honest, but that's pretty close, I will say. 2017 draft, Markelle Fultz, we already talked about that. Jason Tatum is better. Also, side note, if the Sixers stay at the 3 pick and they get Tatum, what the Celtics said that wouldn't happen, or if the Sixers trade up and take Tatum, if the Sixers get Tatum, I think the Sixers win the finals either this year or 2019 when they had to go up against Kawhi and them because Tatum would have stepped up in his second year. I think, honestly, like Jason Tatum on the Sixers would solve all their problems because he's exactly what they need, a shooter who is a really good scorer. That's why I think if they could move Ben Simmons for Bradley Beal, they'd be set. So, that side note, Tatum on the Sixers would have been perfect. Moving on. 2018 draft, Ayton's number one pick. Ayton's really good, but he's not better than Luka, and he's not better than Trae Young. So, there you go. 2019 draft, Zion is the best player in that draft, but Ja is a very close second, and he was the second pick. 2020 draft, LaMelo's best player. Anthony Edwards is really good. You shouldn't be upset that he was the number one pick, but LaMelo is better. So here we sit at 2021. Is Cade Cunningham really better than Jalen Green? That's my question. To be honest, I think the Pistons are going to take him. He's going to be really good, but I don't know if he's going to be better than Jalen Green, and the Rockets might have their new franchise shooting guard. That's a really good scorer. Am I saying he's automatically James Harden? No, not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying he's a really good scorer, and I think if you're the Pistons and you think he's got the higher ceiling, make the move. Try to move to the 2 pick if the Rockets really into Cade. Give the Rockets a 1 pick. You go get Jalen Green. That's just my take. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, have you seen Cade? I'm serious. I think Jalen Green's a better prospect. As soon as Bill Simmons said that, I looked more into it, and I was like, you know what? He's right. I don't know why we all think Cade's number one pick. This is a legit battle. Cade Cunningham is really good. He's really high chance to be better than Jalen Green. But I don't think it's a big enough chance we'd all need to just get set and be like, yeah, it's Cade Cunningham, number one pick. I think Jalen Green is really good too. So whoever takes him has potential to be the better player. So I hope the Pistons just figure out who the better guy is because I want the Pistons to do well. Which brings us to our next point. And to wrap up the Cavs point, I hope they keep Sexton and draft Evan Mobley. That's what I'd like to see happen. But if they trade Sexton, we better be getting Cunningham or Green. All right, moving over to the whole thing with the Pistons. All right, guys, the Pistons are really good. I was thinking about this, looking at the roster. Sadiq Bey, first team All-NBA. He's averaged like 12 points this year. I mean, I will check this because I feel like this is important enough that it needs like the statistics. So, point is with the Pistons, though, is that right now their roster, depending on who they take, is going to be Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham, or Jalen Green, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, and Isaiah Stewart. That is their starting lineup. And I know a lot of you probably don't even know who Isaiah Stewart is, and you might not even know who Sadiq Bey is, which is sad. He was first team all rookie. He's actually on the U.S. team right now and like the exhibition stuff. So Sadiq Bey, during regular season, averaged 27 minutes with 5 rebounds. It's 4.5, so it's 4.5 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 0.2 blocks, 0.7 steals, but he averaged 12.2 points, the main point. 12 points with 27 minutes on 38% from 3, 84% from free throw, and the field goal I already said at 40. So he was incredibly efficient. I don't know if incredible might be a big word, but for a rookie, that's pretty nice. That's really nice to be shooting high 30s as a rookie from 3. Wow. That's high. So that's really good for the Pistons. Now let's move over to the one you probably have no idea who he is. Isaiah Stewart from Washington. You may have heard his name. He is their center. He was the 16th pick in the draft, and he's really good too. 55 field goal percentage off of off 8 points, 7.9 points is what it says. We're obviously going to round up on that because it's so close. He got 1.3 blocks, 0.9 assists, 6.7 rebounds. So almost 7 rebounds, and he's only playing minutes in the low 20s. So that's really good when you're a rookie. And I'm just saying, people aren't really paying attention to this guy, flying underneath the radar. He's really good. I think you really need to be paying attention to this Isaiah Stewart kid. He's good. So that's really all I got to say is he's good. And his free throw percentage is 69.6. So, yep. His field goals, I will say, he only shoots about 6 shots a game. He doesn't shoot that often, so 55% isn't a ton. But, so point is, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey, both good. All right. Well, they also have the number 1 pick, and they're going to get Jalen Green, or they're going to get Cade Cunningham. And either of those, I think, will be really good picks. And so now we got to talk about the future for them, because I honestly believe that this team is going to be in the play-in next year, and I want to say it right now. I think the Pistons within the next 5 years are going to be in the NBA Finals. I know, that's a really crazily hot take. Not very many people care about this team. But, I mean, they have the number 1 pick. They're going to get a really good scorer. They're going to get either Cade. They're going to get they're going to get their future superstar. They have Sadiq Bey, who's a really good 3-and-D player. We're seeing a lot of really good 3-and-D players right now in the NBA playoffs. Center, Isaiah Stewart. Dead serious, guys. Pay attention to him. He's really good. Jeremy Grant, for the time being, has been a really good power forward for them. They're going to keep him around for the time being and let him be one of their main scorers. And, he had 22 this year per game. Killian Hayes, really good playmaker with some scoring capabilities. Off the bench, they aren't as strong. I will obviously pay attention to that. They do not have the best bench. They only won 20 games this year. But off the bench, it's Corey Joseph, Wayne Ellington, Josh Jackson, Hamidou Diallo. Sekou Doumbouya, though, got potential. Does have potential. Sekou does have potential. But there's really not a lot here off the bench. Frank Jackson is all right. Dennis Smith Jr., Not a lot off the bench here. It's not like the Hornets where it's like, after... If the Hornets can get a good big man like Miles Turner, or if they sign Christian Wood, everybody pay attention. Christian Wood's really good. I'm serious. Pay attention. The Hornets are going to be a really good team next year. If you're running LaMelo, Rozier, Hayward, Washington. You probably have to move Hayward if you're getting Turner, or maybe it's like a sign and trade thing with Christian Wood. I mean, you'd have to move Hayward to get the money for Wood, but let's say you run LaMelo, Terry Rozier, Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, who's a pretty big power forward. I mean, he's 6'10". Anymore in the NBA, it's pretty big for a power forward. Center is Christian Wood or Miles Turner. And then off your bench, you've got Devontae Graham and Malik Monk and Cody Zeller. That's a heck of a team. That is a good team, and a team that's a lot of people are going to play with on 2K. That's a really good team. So that team could be crazy. But I'm saying back to the Pistons. They don't have crazy depth like the Hornets do, but the Pistons within 1 year went from being a team that's awful to a team that I think has really, really bright future. I'm serious. And I want the Cavs to work the stuff out. Sexton, hope it's a good deal. I really trust Kobe Altman. I think he's a really good GM. But the Pistons got it going on, guys. I'm serious. Pay attention to the Pistons. I think they're going to be in the play-in this year. And to be honest, I think within the next 5 years, they're going to be in the NBA Finals. I'm not saying they're winning it, but I think they'll be in it. They're really good. They're really well set up for the future. They have a lot going for them. And I know it's a lot to say about a team that only won 20 games this year, but they're a good team. So that's just my little Pistons thing I wanted to go on about. It's a big tangent. Sadiq Bey is great. Isaiah Stewart's great. And Killian Hayes is really great. I mean, potentially. He does not have the numbers right now to back it up, but I think he's got a lot of potential. Sadiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart do have the numbers. I mean, to be honest, this team is only 2 wins behind Cleveland. Cleveland went 22-50, and Detroit went 20-52. So it's not like it's that inconceivable. So, I mean, people talk about the Cavs a little better than they talk about the Pistons, and the Pistons really aren't that far behind. So I'm saying I'm kind of jealous of the Pistons right now. They got a lot going for them. So hopefully the Cavs can get a good package for Sexton. Sexton's really good. I don't know. I really hope. I don't know what to think about the Sexton thing at the moment. I just got to see what happens. But I'm telling you right now, Pistons, I'm serious. They're really good. I think they got a lot of potential. Pay attention to the Pistons, especially with what they do with this number 1 pick. I'm telling you, Jalen Green might be the best player in the draft. So that is all for the NBA. I hope the Bucks win tonight. You're going to be hearing from me again, whatever happens at the finals. And go Bucks. And we're going to talk a little bit about the MLB, not much, just a little bit. So that was all for the NBA. I know there's a lot to say. For about Team USA, I'm sure they're going to be fine. I'm really not that concerned about them. I'm guaranteeing they're going to be one of the best teams. I don't know if they'll win the gold medal as easily as usual, but they'll probably be in the gold medal final. Like, they'll be the final of the tournament. They might not win it, but I bet they will. If I had to put money on it, the U.S. will win the gold title. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about the U.S. team for the Olympics. I'm sure it'll work out. So, I mean, they do have Kevin Durant. We got to think Kevin Durant's really good, guys. So, yes, please watch the NBA Finals. It's a really good series. Pay attention to the Detroit Pistons. And really just give praise to Giannis, Booker, and Paul because they're all playing great basketball regardless of if they win the series. It's not like anybody's underperforming. They're all performing really well. If anybody's underperforming, it's Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. And the only reason you can get on them is if the Bucks lose. And hopefully the Bucks win. All right. That's all I want to say about the NBA. I had a lot to say. And the Nets are probably going to win the title next year, which makes me sad, but it's the truth. So, all right, let's move on to the MLB. Really, the big thing of the MLB I want to talk about, and the fact that the Giants are still rolling, is that Shohei Ohtani should be a bigger deal than he is. And Bill Simmons, that's another thing Bill Simmons said in the podcast that I was thinking about a lot of, and it's very true. Shohei Ohtani, just watched the MLB All-Star Game, first guy to ever be starting pitcher and a hitter. I really wish he would have won the home run derby. That would be even crazier, but congrats, Pete Alonso. Shohei should be more talked about. He's doing something that we haven't seen in over like almost a century. And he's incredible. Like, you have to pay attention to what he's doing, and yet baseball is not that big of a deal anymore that people don't really seem to care. So that's really sad. I just wish baseball was a bigger deal than it was. Everybody I know that really likes baseball is really enjoying the season. It's been a really good MLB season. I'm very excited to see what happens. I love baseball, but I'm saying it sucks that I don't think America is as into baseball as they used to be. It's very football and NBA heavy, and apparently the NBA Finals this year aren't that exciting to some people, which stinks because I think it's great. So please, if you're a casual NBA fan, pay attention to these finals. They're great. And Shohei Ohtani's incredible. You're going to be paying attention to him because he's probably going to win MVP. I feel like it's probably going to be him. I don't think they're going to pass up this opportunity and vote for Vlad, just because while Vladimir's amazing, Shohei is doing something basically never seen before, like borderline never seen before, and that's incredible. So they're going to pay attention to that. Last thing, probably going to go see Space Jam 2 soon. Hopefully, it's fun time. I mean, I'm assuming it is. It's not like a movie where you're too worried about critical reception. You're just going in there hoping it's a really good time. I hope it's a really good time. I don't think it's going to be able to top the first one. The first one just got magical because, like the classic. But we'll have to see. It's iconic. Let's see how it goes. See you on the next one.